I'm good. Not that great, when considering that we have to work. I have been working from home since last year May. So it's been boring, but yeah, life moves on. How are things in Dhaka?
Things is okay, but the COVID situation is actually somehow the
Yes.
Indian variant that is very much
All
uh,
right.
dangerous that has already been seen in our country as well. So we are
Oh,
very
all
much
right.
worried. So what about the
Okay.
COVID situation in Sri Lanka?
So even day before yesterday, we got it was recorded the first patient with the Indian variant. So
Okay.
things are not looking good. So yesterday the numbers was about 2,500 positive cases. So
Mm.
numbers are increasing, and I don't know whether we have the capacity. Let's see how it's going to play. Hope things will improve soon.
Okay, so let us come back to the interview. So,
Yes.
so Savindra, what is the use of SAP Material Management Module?
So when it comes to SAP material management, it's basically the backbone when it comes to the logistic part. So from the point where we have a requirement to purchase something, from the purchasing point of view, to analyzing the requirement, and to finalizing the vendors, and to purchasing it, and finally to complete the transaction through invoicing, the whole cycle goes around. Basically, to keep it simple, so when it comes to the operation cycle, purchase to procure to pay, the whole cycle is captured under material management.
So, what is your basic job responsibilities in your
Sorry,
company?
can you
What,
repeat again?
what are your basic job responsibilities in your current company?
So at the moment, I'm working as an external SAP consultant for Puma Germany, as well as G Staro Netherlands. So we provide SAP consultation services for them. That is for S4 in Puma, and AFS in AFS, that is ECC in G Star Netherlands. So basically, we
Okay.
provide consultations with, for example, let's say they came across an issue regarding their purchasing process. Then we get involved, and we investigate why it has happened, and we provide them a solution then and there.
Okay, that's great. So, Savindra, I would be asking you some questions that there are very basic questions, but you can put
All
your
right,
experience and expertise in the answer. Okay, so
all right.
answer in your own way. So, can you explain the steps in procurement life cycle?
Procurement line, yes. So it all starts with the point where we need to determine the requirements. So basically, so the purchasing department get involved here, and they determine how the what kind of a stock is required for the organization, maybe for consumer basis, maybe for direct, uh, maybe for direct use for their production. So from that point of view, then we identify the vendors,
Mm,
we make the orders,
mm.
and then we actually go through the PO processing point, then the good receipt, then the goods invoice. If you want, I can go through each part of these processors individually.
Okay, so you can go. You can go.
All right. So one of the key parts is the determination of requirement. As I said, purchasing department gets involved, and they come up with, for this quarter you need this level of stocks for this specific material. So business does that, operations, and then they contact the purchasing department, notifying them of this requirement. Then what happens is, for that requirement, the purchasing department department identify actually determine and identify suppliers who they could get this material. For example, let's say we have a requirement to buy 100 pairs of shoes that is needed for the branding process of the business. In that case, what the purchasing department does is they go through their list of sources and they identify which can be selected to purchase these specific requirements. Then what happens is they create a purchase requisition, they create a purchase order, and that purchase order is sent to the vendor, the selected vendor, and then the communication starts with the vendor. Sometimes they would say they can provide 90 pairs by this day, and the rest will be provided on another day. So those communications will be ongoing. After confirmation of these communications, for example, this organization and the supplier come to a point where they agree on, okay, by next month 10th, second week, they will be providing the full quantity to us. In that, when they receive the PO confirmation, what happens is then the PO is confirmed, and this organization expect to have this quantity of 100 quantities delivered by the next month, by the first week of next month. Afterwards, what happens is as soon as we get the goods, we do the goods receipt. That is where when the good has been received at our warehouses, and we do a check against the purchase order on the quantities that they have received, and we do a check against the receipt that we received from their end as well. And at that point, we stock in the quantities that were sent by the vendor. After, what happens is we do a invoice verification, where we do our invoicing for the goods that have been received after inspection, and afterwards the financial authorized person would do the payment for them. That's the simple process when it comes to the purchasing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So my next question, what's release strategy, and how many release points can be involved in a release process?
Release strategies. I can actually, the first thing that came to my mind is I used to work with Crocs US. So for them, they have a strict release strategy for their indirect purchases. Indirect purchases are more or less like purchases that they consume within the organization. That's something that they need for their consumption within the organization. So for example, there can be 3 release points set. One is, it all depends on the release strategy. So for example, let's say the purchasing department again involves. The purchasing departments make a call where they need to purchase maybe 100 licenses of Windows 10. So for that purchase, let's say that the dollar value of that 100 licenses would be $1,000. In that case, we have to set up a certain range where who is going to approve this. So based on that setup, the system will be determined who needs to approve this. So there can be 3, they can go up to 3, but based on that allocation, based on that setup, you can do the release. You can set up the release strategy, and based on that, whoever the person, let's say for example, for $1,000, you need the approval of your department head as well as the immediate director looking over purchasing department. In that case, the release strategy will show those 2 people in the PO header level under release. So at that, so whenever this PO is being created, a notification will be sent from the SAP to that specific user, whoever needs to approve first. For example, in this scenario, it's the department head who needs to, department manager who needs to approve first. then it goes to the purchasing director, who will be overlooking the purchasing department. So first, through the SAP, it will be that notification will be sent to that user, sent to that department manager. As soon as he approves it, it will be escalated to the next approver. So that has been the process in SAP.
Great, great. Okay, Savindra, can you describe a time when you were given a problem without a lot of information? How did you handle this situation?
Oh, it's a common thing in our business, and it's in our business nature. So there are so many occurrences that has happened. For example, I can actually bring you from last week. For example, there was this issue regarding this MRP. So we have a in GSTA they use MRP to determine the demand and the supply of materials. And in that in that system, there was inconsistency, and we had to and user was not aware of the process. First of all, users not aware of the process, how to handle that, how the stock should be allocated in that scenario, and we have to go through everything. We simply, I mean, what I did was in that instance, I created the exact scenario in our quality system, so I could go through the process following the steps that the user has done in the production system. So through that, I was able to understand what the user has done, and what were the mistakes that they have done, and I was able to correct them. So it's very natural for us to find those kind of issues. And I always sometimes I always refer these forums as well to get get any information that I'm not aware. So somehow I'm able to provide a consolidated and a very practical solution to my customers.
Okay, okay, great. So can you tell me, how do you access the material management configuration menu?
I don't access. I actually go through some of the forums that for example, let's say if it's a MRP issue, specific issue, I go through those Google sites as well as my own documents that I have created. So based on those information, I can refresh my memory, and I can go through this issue confidently.
Okay, okay. So how many company codes can be assigned to a plant?
To a plant, you're asking how many company codes can be assigned to a plant, right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
You can only have one company code can be assigned to a plant. But it's the other way around. When it comes to the other way around, plant to company, there can be multiple plants assigned to a one company code.
So my next question, what is the menu path to create a document notification for your supplier?
Sorry, can you come again?
What is the menu path to create a document email notification for your supplier?
Email notification. So for that, I actually sorry, I can't actually remember. What I do is like I go through the tcodes and I just go through it and do it. I don't exactly go through the path.
Okay, so I think you are not very much familiar with all the codes, right? So
I am. So what I can tell you is that we go to set up the notifications through XK0 010203. From there we can set up the vendor. From the vendor, there you can set up the communications for the vendor.
okay, so what transaction codes are used with reservations?
Reservations of stock.
Yes, yes.
Reservation of stock. You can reserve stock through MyGo, where you can transpose and reserve stock. If not, we can create a purchase order to
Hmm?
a specific. We can actually. I would suggest to go for the MyGo, MyGo transaction.
Okay. Okay. So can you tell me what is valuation area? What is your
Valuation
concept of?
area.
Hmm.
Sorry.
What is valuation area and what is your concept about it?
Valuation area is more or less like, for example, for a valuation area is so let's say we have 10 materials defined in the system, and these 10 materials are used in two company codes. Let's say two countries, and and both those countries will have their own valuation based on the stocks and the stock values that and the value of the stocks that have been brought into the system. So it all depends on the quantity that is available and the and the price that the quantities have been brought into the system.
Okay. Okay. So how do you check quota rating?
Sorry,
How do you check quota rating?
sorry, I didn't get you.
There is there is a formula to check the quota rating.
I'm not.
Okay.
Can you what is it? The formula for
Formula for quota rating. How can you find the quota rating by using a formula? Okay, let me
the
answer it.
quantity? All right,
Yes.
quantity.
Yeah, yes,
Uh,
yes.
for you mean the quantity that is being available in the system? Is that what you're asking?
Actually, my question was very clear. Actually, I wanted to know the formula of quota ratings. How can you check the
Quantity.
quota?
So quantity is based on. So for example, for every material, we can maintain the unit price at material or at info record level. So based on that, so if it's info record that was maintained, uh, if both are maintained, info record gets the priority, and based on the info record cost, quantity will be multiplied, and you can get the quantity value.
Okay, Savindra. Savindra, what is your strength and what is your weakness?
I would say one of my biggest strengths have always been that I try to be a perfectionist. That has uh, that has always been. I want to give the perfect solution. I have to. I always be trying to do that. But I something that I realized throughout my career in SAP is that I need to prioritize what is required here. So if user needs a it's an immediate solution, I can't just give them the perfect solution. I need to make sure I firefight first, and then I need to make sure how I can do further to mitigate that issue and provide a long term solution. So throughout my journey in SAP, I learned that being a perfectionist, I actually can't be a perfectionist. So now I try my best to provide what is immediately needed for the customer.
So, what is your
And
weakness then?
a weakness is my perfection. Being a perfectionist, I would say a strength would be that I am good at one thing that everyone, to all my colleagues and even my superiors was. They have noticed that I am very good at detail, attention to detail. That is
Hmm.
something that I always have been good at, and even when it comes to like very complex issues, they come to me and ask me to have a look, because I know they know that I go through all these little things about about an issue. For example, if it's something to do with a sales order, with a purchase order, I will start from the sales order itself and go through with how the process has worked, how the purchase requisition has been created, then the purchase order. So I am very methodical as well as very detail oriented. That has always been a strength of mine.
Okay, so there are some people who actually do not like to stay with a company for a long time. When they get
Okay.
a better opportunity or a better scope, they want to switch.
Yes.
So, do you
Okay.
think it is a good strategy for him as well as the
Uh,
company?
it depends. So, for example, I was promoted in the last promoted twice in the last 2 years. So it all depends on what you want. If I'm talking about myself, what I want is more exposure. So at this moment, I know in and out about the Puma process. I know about Crocs process because I have been working. I used to work for Crocs for about 3 years. So I want to get something more. So I want to explore more. I want more opportunities, and I want to see what is there in the world more than more. I want to go out of this and see what is there out there. So I would say it's a bad thing. It all depends on the perspective of the person. And I would, you should be loyal to the organization on the other hand as well, as long as they understand what you want. For for some people, the top management does not understand the individual requirement, individual uh, wants and needs, and they believe that these people are happy, but they don't understand the other side, that they want more opportunity, they want to expand their horizon. So those are really things that plays in an organization, I believe.
Okay. So, for example, there are two situations. In one, you have given a chance to work for a company where the compensation package is average. Okay, but there are a lot of learning opportunities. You have a lot of scope to work there. And on the other
Okay.
hand, there is another company where very good
Okay.
compensation package, but the learning scope is limited. Okay, so
All right.
which option do you choose and why?
It depends on the. At the moment, I wouldn't make a choice based on exactly on the details that you have provided, because I want to understand what kind of opportunities is there. I am someone who wants to challenge myself and do something more than that I have already be doing. Otherwise, it's going to be very boring. It's going to be, if you're doing the same thing, it's going to be boring, because you need to have new challenges in life.
Okay,
That's what makes
so
us
let me
human.
make it
So
more clear. For example,
yeah.
in the first situation, maybe you have given a chance to do a challenging work, what you really like. Okay,
All
so
right.
and another company, they are providing a very good compensation, but their opportunities are not very interesting. It's kind of boring, but they have a good compensation structure. Okay, so you have a good
Okay.
carry. Financially, you will be very uh, happy with that
All
company,
right.
but the first company, maybe even not financially, you will be not be very happy, but you will get a lot of challenging things. So
All
in that
right.
situation, so what will be your uh, choice?
It's like this. First thing, it would come to the financials as well, because we need to consider the financial aspect. We can't just neglect that part as well. But then again, all depends on what they can provide. Even though it's a boring job, what kind of a job it is, it all depends on those criteria, those things, not just the opportunities. The opportunities matters a lot, because that's how you grow as a person. That's how you grow your career. That's very important to me. However, I need to compare that with what kind of a job, what kind of roles, what kind of responsibilities that I'll be given from the other job as well. Based on those, I will make a call, and also I will definitely consider the financial aspect as well.
Okay, Savindra, thank you so much for joining
Right.
this interview. So this is a basic round, so first
All
round of the
right.
interview process. So your answer will be reviewed, and once you are shortlisted, then you will be asked to attend for the second round of the interview, and that will be the
All
final
right.
interview. Okay, so I
Okay.
wish you a very good luck for the second round of interview, Savindra. Thank you
Thank
again
you.
for joining.
Thank you.
Take
Thank you
care.
for letting me. Okay.
Bye.
Have a good day.